I am Nik Wallenda, and I am a seventh-generation funambulist, or a wire walker. Well, my family started performing back in the 1780s, and they performed for 4 generations over in Europe. So their first performance here in the United States was in 1928, and it was in Madison Square Garden, the old garden in New York City. When I get on the wire, I know there's millions of people tuning in. I know that there's hundreds of thousands of people below. But the reality is, it becomes just me in that wire. I don't even think about that stuff. There's something so beautiful to me about getting on that wire, and something so peaceful and calming. And I think one of the reasons, to be honest, is the distractions of the world go away. It's about me and that wire. So on February 8th of 2017, we were training here in Sarasota to break our own world record. Our family's been known to do that for generations, and our goal was to do a 4-layer, 8-person pyramid over 30 feet above the ground. So we'd been training for quite a while. It's very important to me. I look at everybody in that pyramid before we walk, and I look them in the eyes to make sure that that I can tell that they are there with us in that moment, and then they're comfortable. And I looked at everybody, do you feel good? Yes. Do you feel good? Yes. All the way down the line. I was about 8 feet. I'm in the very back on the bottom. I was about 8 to 10 feet out on the wire, and immediately knew something was wrong. And I saw a balancing pole flip up sideways in front of me, and my greatest fear came true. The pyramid collapsed. I can still hear the sounds. I can still relive that moment as if it's happening right now. As I tell the story, I cannot help but visualize that entire accident happening. Within a minute of that accident, my sister was unrecognizable. She'd fallen on her head. She broke every bone in her face, so she had a 13-hour surgery on her face alone. They put 72 screws and plates in her face, and they didn't know if she was going to walk at that point. They just didn't know how she was going to recover. New York City was something I wanted to do just because of my family history, coming over in 1928, their first performance, and it's New York City, and as an entertainer, you want to always do something big in New York City. If you can make it in New York City, you can make it anywhere. So I remember getting closer to permission about 6 months ago, and I got on the plane and I was flying home, and I was like, Lord, I don't know. I don't know if if this is exciting enough for TV to walk over Times Square. I feel like there needs to be more. And I remember God just saying, you needed to ask your sister if she wants to be a part of it. And it was something that really never crossed my mind. She's never done a walk that high. She's never done a walk that long. To come back at that level is kind of a big deal. Michael Strahan said it best. He said, you know, when an NFL player gets injured and comes back, he doesn't come back and play in the Super Bowl. Well, your sister got injured and came back, and she's walking wire 2.5 times higher, 3 times longer than anything she's ever walked before. She's coming back and playing in the Super Bowl. Here's somebody that has overcome a near fatal accident. And she woke up and she goes, you know, I woke up this morning and I realized who God created me to be. She's like, I realized I needed to stop believing the fears that the enemy was putting in my head. And God created me to do this and do this walk and inspire people through this walk. And it was a revelation that literally, it was like flipping a switch. The fact that she, again, that revelation alone, and I think so many people that are gripped by fear and anxiety need to get that revelation of who they are and who they were created to be. With all the distractions, my goal was in New York City, the distractions of Times Square was to get that city to stop for a moment and just to look up. I think when I'm on the wire, I believe that God is sort of painting a picture of inspiration. And I wanted a city that never stops, to stop and just look up and be inspired and hopefully feel the presence of God. And I knew that as I'm on a wire that is generally lit from above so that I can see that wire over New York City with traffic moving in the background everywhere, with hundreds of thousands of people below us, with giant LED walls left and right that are flashing, distracting us. I knew that that would push me to work harder. It would push me to train harder. It would push me to prepare harder, because it took those situations. It took the accident where my family members had fallen and I thought I was going to lose them. I lose my sister, to kind of reveal to me that fear is real, that anxiety is real, and to have to learn how to work my way through that. But again, I have a guidebook, the Bible, that I can always go to that has the answers for every situation that I deal with in life. I think everybody is on a wire in one way or another, and we're all trying to get to the other side. We're created in God's image, which is, we couldn't be created more perfect and more beautifully. And stop believing the lies of fear that the enemy has placed in your mind. Stop listening to those voices that the enemy is trying to put in your head, saying that you're not good enough and you're not smart enough and you're not good looking enough, you're not talented enough. Stop believing those fears. He will make all things perfect.
There is no one here tonight under more pressure than Nik and Lijana.
The crowd tonight is just off the charts. There's so many people down here.
This walk is actually 3 times higher and 4 times longer than any high wire walk that she's ever done before.
They are walking on a wire 25 stories above the ground.
I mean, what amazing walk it was with so many challenges, and these two, they made it look so easy and so simple, even though we all know that it wasn't. What a lesson about conquering your fear